So from the very beginning, women's basketball, from Olympics to the WNBA, has been sort of sending a message to casuals like me and you. Caitlin Clark is not quite ready. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And the more I watch Caitlin Clark, the more I'm convinced women's basketball isn't ready. Caitlin Clark's more than ready. She helped her WNBA All-Star team beat the USA Women's Olympic team this weekend. She was the best playmaker. She had 10 assists, best playmaker. One of her teammates scored 34, and Caitlin just kept feeding her the ball. And the most assists in the win, double-digit assists in 7 of her last 8 games, despite the WNBA butchering her early schedule, snubbing her for the Olympics. They put her on the WNBA All-Star team. Indiana now is a real potential playoff team. And what do you know? She led everybody in assists as they beat the Olympic team. Clearly, she stretches the floor. She's great with spacing. And she's also, in my opinion, a perfect Olympic or All-Star player, especially Olympics. All-Star games are a little bit of showing off. But the Olympics, if you're not the second, third best player on the team, and she wouldn't be yet, you need to be a facilitator, not a ball hog. I would argue with Caitlin Clark, she passes too much. Now, in the All-Star game this weekend, her shooting was off, but her playmaking wasn't. And so the women's Olympic team said, if we put her on the team, there is no question she's going to be a distraction. Well, you know what's a distraction? Her not on the team. That's what everybody's talking about. So and here's the other thing, is that I've learned with women's basketball as a whole, they're very much like men's soccer in America. They're a little petty. They've been ignored to a larger degree than other sports, and they've got a chip on their shoulder, and they're sort of a prove you belong. For United States men's national team, the soccer fans, it's like you have to have a passcode to even talk about the sport online. And for women's basketball, it's this constant prove you belong. Caitlin Clark belongs on the Olympic team. She belongs on the All-Star team. She belongs in the skills competition. And here's the thing, women's basketball, you can't use the excuse that she caught you off guard. Because a lot of times, overnight sensations do catch businesses off guard. But Ticketmaster, you knew Taylor Swift was a massive hit 8 years earlier. Be prepared. And 2 years before she entered the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, for Little Iowa, was setting college basketball records. She came back for her final year. You knew 2 years in advance, we got a star. 1 year in advance, she'll be the number 1 pick. There was no excuse butchering her early schedule. There's no excuse not having months and months of discussions on the Olympic team. She's clearly one of the better offensive, long-range performers in the league. I'd argue she's first or second best playmaker, leads the WNBA in assists, 7 of her last 8 games, double-digit assists. And this is for a team that doesn't have a lot of finishers, the Indiana Fever. So she always says the right stuff at the podium. She's going to downplay this win by her All-Star team over the coveted Olympic team she's not good enough to be on. So far, she's more than prepared and capable. It's women's basketball that's not quite ready for Caitlin Clark, and here she is.
I mean, they're really good. They have plenty of talent on that team. It was the same, I think, 4 years prior. I'm pretty sure the Team WNBA beat Team USA. They were perfectly fine in the Olympics. I think for myself, from my standpoint, is this is a great opportunity to, help prepare them for Paris. And, I'm going to be supporting them and cheering them on. I love the Olympics. I've loved the Olympics ever since I was a young kid, and they're going to be just fine. They're going to win gold and dominate. So I'm not worried.
She continues to always say the right things at the right time. So, I've said this, that I think Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, the rivalry is great. I don't need Caitlin Clark to win everything. It's a magic bird thing, back and forth. If Angel Reese wins Rookie of the Year, good for her. I like the back and forth. But I just want to tell you that Caitlin Clark last night had 19 assists in a game to set a league record. She's a rookie on a bad team. She has scored or assisted on 66 points, 71% of the Fever's points. That's the most ever in league history. She's breaking records every week. So part of the silliness of not allowing her on the Olympic team is she was a very quickly improving player, and now you kind of look silly. She's arguably the best playmaker in the league, arguably the second best three-point shooter in the league. I don't know. They seem valuable in Olympic competition, and she's not on the team. But yesterday, they also announced the skills competition for the WNBA All-Star team, and she didn't make that either. She didn't make the three-point shooting contest? So you argued she wasn't good for the Olympics. Your argument, though I don't buy it, but it was your argument, women's basketball, that she would be a distraction. I roll, but okay. So isn't the perfect place to put her in the skills competition, where she's one of the best three-point shooters, and she's a highly skilled player? So now what is it? Pettiness, gatekeeping, insular, dumb? If you're not going to put her in the Olympics, you're 0 for 1. Now you're not putting her in the skills competition. She quadrupled the ratings. Nobody's going to watch that skills competition. They would have, highlighting Clark and other players. Thank God the WNBA didn't go 0 for 3. They did find it in their heart to put her on the WNBA All-Star team. But she'll probably be at the end of the bench and struggle to get minutes, I would imagine. But, I mean, it's almost hard rooting for women's basketball. You're like... it cracks me up how they treat her. If you really think about it, they're trying to get her to pay her dues, but she's the one paying all the fees. She's the reason you're flying private. She's paying for everything, and you want her to pay her dues. It's really ridiculous. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bird and Magic came into the league and they put them on everything. They tried to highlight them because the NBA was more secure in itself. They understood Bird and Magic could elevate all the players, the league, the revenue, the pie, the pettiness. You got to get her in the skills competition. What are you doing? You should have her on the Olympic team. What are you doing? Last night, we got 19 assists. By the way, you know who was in the dunk contest his rookie year? Michael Jordan. They got Michael Jordan in the dunk contest. He didn't have to pay his dues. Everybody was like, get that kid in the dunk contest. Oh, WNBA. I mean, for years and years, you wanted all this attention. We finally pay it. You have somebody that can absolutely, as a catalyst, get you more attention. And you're now very precious. You're experts. Insular, gatekeeping. You're exhausting.